Hospitals never sleep. They just change the tone of their breathing. During the day, it's chatter and footsteps. At night, it's the hum of machines and the slow rhythm of something that feels almost alive. Dr. Ryan Fletcher knew that rhythm too well. He'd spent so many nights inside St. Mark's that the smell of disinfectant had replaced his sense of time. Nights blurred together. Coffee. Silence. The faint beeping of monitors keeping patients tethered to the world. He told himself the night shift was peaceful. Predictable. A place where nothing unexpected could survive. But peace dies slowly in hospitals. First in the corners, then in the walls. It began with a noise. A soft clank above room 312. Too heavy to be air, too deliberate to be the pipes. Ryan ignored it. Everyone hears things when they've been awake too long. Then came the patient complaints, footsteps in the vents, whispers through the ductwork. Every report sounded the same, a sound that moved when no one should be moving. By the third night, he started believing them. At 2 a.m., he dropped a surgical clamp into the bio-waste bin, sealed it, and went back to his rounds. An hour later, he returned to find that same clamp lying neatly on a patient's pillow, washed, polished, still warm. That was the moment the quiet stopped feeling safe. He checked security footage. Nothing. Every hallway empty. Every door sealed. Yet somewhere above him, something was crawling through the walls of St. Mark's, matching the pace of his heartbeat. He told himself he'd imagine it. That fatigue was playing tricks. But when the lights flickered, he looked up and saw dust fall from the vent. Fresh, moving dust. Hospitals never sleep, but sometimes they wake up. The next night, Ryan arrived early. The hallways felt wrong the moment he stepped in. Too still, too cold. The fluorescent lights hummed like insects, flickering just enough to remind him how fragile power really was in this place. He passed room 312. The patient inside, an elderly woman named Marjorie, had been stable for days. But tonight, she was trembling. Her eyes were open wide, staring at the ceiling vent. When he asked what was wrong, she whispered, "It watches." Ryan froze. "Who watches?" She didn't answer. She just turned her head toward the wall and began humming to herself. A broken lullaby, off-key, but steady enough to sound rehearsed. He tried to brush it off. Patients say strange things at night. Medication, delirium, fear, it all blends together. But when he left the room, he noticed something scratched into the metal of the vent. "Don't look up." He stared at it too long. Long enough to realize it was carved from the inside. At the nurse's station, the monitors flickered. Room 312's feed was grainy, static pulsing like a heartbeat. He leaned closer and caught a glimpse of something moving in the corner of the frame. It wasn't human. Too thin. Too fast. He rushed back to the room. But when he opened the door, Marjorie was gone. The bed was empty. The monitors still showed her heartbeat. Steady, normal, as if she were still lying there. Then he heard it again. The same metallic dragging above the ceiling tiles. Closer this time. He shone his flashlight upward. Dust drifted down, and for a fraction of a second, he saw something looking back through the vent. Two eyes reflecting the light. Not human eyes. Too wide. Too wet. He stumbled back, but when the light flickered again, they were gone. Ryan stood there, breathing hard, surrounded by the sound of machines that no longer felt mechanical. The hospital felt alive, breathing, watching, remembering. Ryan didn't go home after that shift. He sat in his car until sunrise, hands gripping the steering wheel, watching the hospital through the windshield. Every time the automatic doors slid open, a cold draft crawled down his spine. He told himself he was just tired. But exhaustion doesn't leave scratches on steel vents. By the next night, word had spread. The nurses whispered about Marjorie's disappearance, but no one filed a report. It was as if the building itself erased her. Her name disappeared from the patient roster. Her chart, gone. Even her belongings from the locker room had vanished. Only Ryan remembered she existed. He tried to tell the head nurse, but she just stared at him blankly and said, "There is no patient by that name." When he checked the system himself, she was right. No record. No admission. Nothing. That's when he started digging. Old archives. Patient logs. Maintenance records. He found something buried deep, a wing that had been sealed off 5 years earlier after an electrical fire. 3 patients died that night, and one of them was named Marjorie Hale. The file listed her cause of death as inhalation injury, but the photo stapled to the corner made his stomach drop. It was her. The same face. The same eyes. He sat there staring at the document, and for a moment, he swore he heard the faintest sound of humming. That same broken lullaby echoing from the ceiling vent above his desk. He looked up, and the vent was slowly unscrewing itself. A metal screw rolled down onto the desk, clinking once before falling silent. Then another. Then another. The air turned cold. His computer screen flickered, and words appeared on the monitor, typed out by unseen hands. Don't look up. Ryan backed away from the desk. The ceiling groaned, bending slightly under the weight of something moving above him. He could hear it dragging its limbs through the vents, slow, deliberate, like it wanted him to hear. He ran. The hallways were empty, every light dimmed to a dying yellow. Behind him, the ceiling panels rattled as something followed, crawling faster than he could run. He reached the stairwell door, slammed it open, and turned the corner, only to find every step coated in a dark smear. It wasn't blood. It was ash, burnt, blackened, thick with the smell of smoke. He realized where the trail was leading. Downstairs, to the sealed-off wing. Ryan stood at the top of the stairwell, staring into the dark. Every instinct told him to walk away. But curiosity is a disease. Once it starts, you can't stop the spread. He followed the trail down, one step at a time. The deeper he went, the thicker the air became. Dust hung like smoke. The faint hum of hospital machinery disappeared, replaced by the steady sound of dripping water. When he reached the bottom, he saw the door to the sealed wing. The metal was warped from heat, paint blistered, warning tape hanging loose and forgotten. A rusted sign still clung to the wall. East Wing, restricted access. He pushed the door, and it creaked open with a groan that echoed through the dark corridor. Beyond it, everything smelled like wet ashes and chemicals. He walked slowly. The hallway was lined with empty beds, their frames melted and twisted. Burn marks climbed up the walls, reaching the ceiling like black vines. But what caught his attention were the wheelchairs, every one of them facing the same direction, toward the far end of the corridor. And there, in the faint light from a single flickering bulb, stood an old patient bed. Someone, or something, was lying in it. Ryan's heart hammered. He took a few careful steps closer. The figure was small, thin, wrapped in scorched sheets. A mask covered the face. Burned, melted plastic fused into the skin. He whispered her name before he could stop himself. Marjorie. The figure twitched. Then it began to hum. That same lullaby, weak and broken, rising from behind the melted mask. Ryan stumbled backward, hitting the wall. His flashlight flickered. For a moment, he saw the entire corridor shift, the wheelchairs turning slightly toward him, metal squealing on tile. He turned to run, but the door behind him slammed shut. The lights died. In the dark, the humming stopped, and a voice whispered right beside his ear. You shouldn't have come back. He dropped his flashlight. When it hit the ground, it rolled in a slow circle, its beams slicing across the floor, stopping on something that hadn't been there before. Footprints, burned into the tile. Leading toward him, the air burned in Ryan's lungs. He couldn't see, couldn't breathe, only feel the heat rising from the floor. The smell of smoke thickened, choking him with memories that didn't belong to him. He backed against the wall, eyes locked on those blackened footprints inching closer, one at a time, each step releasing a hiss of steam. The humming returned, soft at first, then layered, like several voices joining in from different corners of the dark. The vents above rattled, dust spilling down like gray snow. Ryan reached for the flashlight. The beam trembled as he lifted it, slicing through the haze. The hospital corridor looked different now. New paint, clean tiles, monitors glowing faintly. But when he blinked, it all peeled away again, revealing the charred ruin beneath. The building was showing him both versions at once, what it used to be, and what it really was. And in the center of it, Marjorie stood. Her gown was half-burned, skin cracked like porcelain left in fire. Yet her eyes, clear, wet, human, were filled with something that looked like grief. She spoke without moving her lips. They left us here. Ryan shook his head, stepping back. Who did? Everyone. Images hit him all at once, smoke filling the wing, alarms failing, doors locked to contain the fire. The staff never came back. The patients had been left to die in their beds.